going to a con and I'm making things. So Vivian, who voices Millie, has 3 daughters, so I'm making tulle skirts. And they're red with a little dot of black, Millie vibes. I finished 2, but now I'm waiting on tulle for 1 more, because I thought I had enough, and I don't. And then I made the other Vivian Medrano. I found a sweatshirt, and so I used the sleeve to make a little cat sweater. See, this is the thing, I'm not good at getting people gifts, but I'm just like, oh, what can I make them that would be not what they usually get? And then Brandon, my idea for Brandon Rogers, who is Blitz. I saw him at a different con, he was wearing nail polish, and I was like, well, this blue would look good on him, and this green gives me Bobby Worst vibes from his main channel. Also, I had the sweatshirt left over, and I decided to cut off the sleeves. I used the top part of the sleeve because I used the bottom part for the cat sweater. But I cut off the top part and made it a hood and sewed that on, which is why it's a little janky there, because I don't know how to sew, but I did anyway. I also sewed on a zipper, which is like sewed on, you can't tell super well. It's pretty janky. It's not the best work because I am not good at this kind of thing, but this gave me Blame the Hero vibes, and my partner tried it on, who's roughly as tall as him, so I think it would fit, but I don't know. I'm going to tell him he can chuck it in the trash if he doesn't like it, because I don't know, it's just because I had extra material and it gave me Brandon vibes. I have more in a different spot, hold on. Apologies in advance for the image on my laptop, but this is Sam Half's Tumblr profile picture, and so I got Model Magic Clay, and I'm going to try to make it. For Richard, so I found these online, these little, like, racing possums, and so my idea is, I'm going to use this as, oops, sorry buddy. I'm going to use this as a base. I found this, like, whatever. And I'm going to just kind of try to make this, like, use some clay to make it look more like Moxie and then have it sit on it. I found out Morgana used to be a stop motion worker. So this is from a Barbie. I was going to use this as the head. And then this is my basic shape. I don't know which wire. This one's thicker, so I might use this and then use this for fingers. These are nuts to like hold it in place, and then use epoxy to hold it together, and this ties it. So that's what I'm currently doing, is I'm working on the stop motion thing when I decided to start filming this. I know I'm not going to do a good job of doing like in progress things, so I'm just going to record when I remember and just show where I'm at. Okay, this one's more fun but less forgiving than I thought, so I don't know if it'll actually stand, but it's still wet, so I'm going to let it dry. Quick update, here's how the armature is looking. Now the head does not fit on it though, so I don't know what I'm going to do. I might have to cut it smaller. And then I just got the material to make the snake for Georgie, and then I got more tools so I can finally finish those skirts. Gonna have to work on that at some point. Making an attempt to show this, so I've cut a bunch of tulle, 60 centimeters, so then I put 2 together, bunch them up, loop it, hold it here, and then what I did is I found a piece of elastic. And so you put it under, tuck this in, and then pull it, and then try not to pull it too tight so you can kind of loosen it and pull it along. And that's how I've been making the skirts for Vivian's daughters. So I got this stuff called pre-wrap. I get sports stores, and I'm just wrapping it around the whole thing. I'm just going to start bottom up. I don't care as much about the foot because I'm probably going to put like a fabric shoe on it or something, but yeah, gonna try and make it all look the right imp skin tone. Can't remember the last time I made an update, so here's me making one. This is Sally Mae. This is the armature I made. Let's see if I can do this a little better. I have all of this out of scrap fabric. I made her outfit, but I still need to make her some shoes, and I need to paint her face. Pretty pleased with it. I tried to do hands and like fingers, but they just came out super messed up, so I just gave up, and she just has stump hands. Oh, a friend of mine was helping me out. She said she would help me make the capes, the Stolas capes. So here's the thing. I gave her some unfortunate fabrics. There's like this velvety inside and this blue outside. Apparently it was very stretchy and hard to sew. So it doesn't look... She did her best, and I love her so much, and she did a great job. It was just a bad material. So I don't blame her one bit for it looking like not 100% the way I wanted it to. But like, top view, not bad. And I got this little scarf thing, and I'm just going to cut this up, and I got this to be the little, like, sort of shoulder shawl thing that he has on his outfit. I also still have the little things I need to put on it, and that's the thing. So, like, the neck on these is kind of small, so I will have to 100% put this on to make it look right. So I'm going to cut this up and put that on top, and then put this on the edges of that. And I have 2, because I want to make one for each of his kids. If they're still into that. I know some kids love it till they're 10. Some kids are like, I'm done with this when they're 5. So, and I have no idea how old his kids are. I only found out he had kids because he mentioned them a lot. I have no idea. I'm just hoping they're under 10. It might look a little wonky, but I'm going to try my best. Yeah, I'm going to work on some hand sewing tonight because, like hell, if I'm going to use a sewing machine. Okay, so this is my Alex Brightman project. What I'm going to do is, so he wrote the lyrics for a musical version of this, and I really like this story. I actually have my own book on a shelf, but what I'm going to do is book folding. So I found a template online. Essentially, you just measure up and down. It'll say like 4.5 and 5.5 or whatever the measurement was, and then you just mark it. So I marked all the pages already. So like I've marked those dots, and then I have it backwards on this side so that I can kind of meet in the middle. I put little bookmarks so that I remember the beginning and the end, and that's the middle part. And it's going to make a little heart, like Fizz's heart, on his hat. So I'll show this when it's done. I've only done 3 pages so far. Let's see if I can do a page while I'm holding my camera. So yeah, dot. Keep it as straight as possible. Find the dot. And I don't want to screw this up too much, so I'm not going to do the other side. But yeah, I just find the other dot. I'll fold the other side down. And I'll show it when it's finished. Alright, so the book is done. So I might color this to make it Fizz colors. I'm going to have to put like a ribbon around it or something, because if you put it too closed, well, it's not terrible, but if it's too wide, you can't tell what it is. So whatever. And then what I'm working on now is, and I took a scarf and cut it in half and pinned it around the edges, and I still have another one to do, but I'm going to attempt to use the sewing machine. It's my nemesis, so wish me luck. World's quickest update, this happens, so I'm assuming this fabric is also not suitable for the sewing machine, so I will have to do this by hand. I got cape, good news and bad news. I got this on, which isn't holding the way I want, but like the cowl looks good, but the bummer, and I'm going to turn around for this, let's see if you can see in the mirror. So like the cape goes, not as short, it's a short cape, it's made for a kid, but the cowl is longer than I expected. And it also doesn't really match the fabric I got going here. I also really am not liking this fabric. The inner fabric, outer fabric don't like, but I can't change it now. It's too late. So that's a bummer. But it's like, it's working out at least. So I'll have something to give them. One update on some stuff. I think I made a video. I did this while watching a Lord of the Rings marathon with friends. So this is for Georgie Leahy, if I'm saying her name right. I used a template from So Desune, which I'll link in the bottom if I remember. But I sewed this all by hand because I cannot figure out freaking sewing machines, and I actually used extra fabric from like Stolas's cape that I wasn't using and some other random stuff as the stuffing. So it's a pretty hefty fella, but I'm very proud of him. I just need to clean him up a little bit because there's some little smudges. Because I know, like, the smile and stuff that I did, I just put permanent marker on, like, the back of this fabric that I had extra. For someone who doesn't really sew, I'm pretty pleased with this guy. I think I was supposed to sew deeper into the fabric, like, give it more leeway when I sewed, because I feel like there's parts where I can kind of see inside it, but that's fine. And then I also redid Sally Mae a little bit. So I still have the same hat, but I redid her shirt because I didn't like it, and I redid the skirt just because, like, before the backs looked really bad and, like, bunched up, so I wanted to fix that. I also, you can see here, I made her little gloves because I really hated how her hands look. It doesn't really help. It looks like she's wearing oven mitts. I tried to do detailing on it to, like, make up for it, like the little crosses, but I'm just like, eh. And I also made her some fake boots out of extra skirt fabric I had, and I tried to do a little pattern on the side to make them look neat, but you could still attach it to something if you wanted to. I just need to do her face, and then I have sculpting to do, and I gotta make her horns. I forgot about her horns. So I'm gonna have to probably cut holes in her hat and stick some in there that I make out of clay. Oh, and I made Georgie the snake because she used to be in a group called Girls Rock that was on Britain's Got Talent, and she had a snake that she would bring on stage. She's so cool. She can breathe fire and junk. She's amazing. Alright, so I did a little clay work. It looks awful. So I used a doll, I cut it in half because I used the back of her. And I so far have Moxie's head. He's going to be riding on this thing, so I found something that was roughly this size. So I have his horns, his hair, sort of his face. So I had to figure out what I'm going to do here. I probably just put his bow tie on her hair so I don't have to attempt to cut it off. But this is still a work in progress. I want to let this stuff dry before I do anything else. And then I drew on her face, and now I'm mad that I did it, but I don't know what else to do. I do have like the little yellows of her eyes drying here, and I'm going to color like a pupil on them and then probably hot glue them on. And I also made her horns, which I need to let dry so I can do the black line. And then this is mine for Sam Half because of his Tumblr photo. I made him a little buff minion. And he looks like trash, but I kind of love that he looks like trash. I don't sculpt, so like I got him little feet nubbins and big fists and an angry eye. So awful minion hair. I'm very proud of him. And now they dry, and hopefully they dry. I got like modeling clay from like, I don't know, the freaking dollar store, and hopefully it dries fine. I should have gotten something more substantial, but whatever. So my night has been making a cross stitch of Vivian's death pose. Now I just have to do it. So I'm going to show you my favorite thing I've made. I took Vivzy from the Level Up poster and I made a cross stitch. I just blew up the pixel art and put it in cross stitch form. I was able to do a backing so that you can't see my terrible stitch work, and I'm still just going to make a border probably out of red and then trim off the excess. But I just happened to get this fabric recently because I am fixing the Stolas capes. The original one was a very bright blue, and then I had this cover up and I didn't like how it looked. It looked too different, and I happened to find I had a Michael's gift card. And so I got this. Unfortunately, I don't have any more of the red, and this is currently just pinned, so I'm just gonna have to like fold it up and make it just semi-presentable that way. At least it'll be I'm gonna probably keep a little extra of this just so it's a longer cape, because I'm making this for children and kids just want a long cape to play with. So I'm happy with how this is going. I still need to make the other one and actually sew them, and hopefully I can figure out my sewing machine so I don't have to do it by hand again. Okay, another Viv thing. I found this fabric at a going out of business sale for Joann Fabric. So now I have a little pocket, and then I'm going to hand sew in some Velcro. And it'll be a little cat toy. So I just got to stuff this and throw this in and do all that. I'm making too much stuff for Viv, but I keep finding stuff that reminds me of her. Okay guys, this is the final update. I'm currently packing for Level Up, which is in a couple days. My cosplay is in there. And I was going to show you all the things I made, and also show me all the things I made, because I'm not going to see them again after I give Viv away. First off, Sam Haft, I made this little minion because he uses this as his Tumblr profile picture. I think it says like, "Get away, I'm married," or something like that. I had extra stuff that I bought that I ended up not using. I know he has at least a kid, so I figured I'd give it to him, or if he just wants to use it, whatever. This is for Alex Brightman. It's the Fizz heart, and I did it using, it's kind of a funny story, which he worked on a musical adaptation of it, him and, Drew Gasparini, and I just thought it looked cool. The lighting is bad, but that's what it looks like. I got these little possums. So this one is the OG possum, and then this is a Luna. Hold on, I'm going to give to Erica Lindbeck. And it actually, like, moves. And I molded this out of a possum that I used there she goes. And I used that to have a little Moxie riding on the possum that I used, like, a mini action figure and then molded him out of clay. I had to use a bunch of layers of Mod Podge because I got the kind of clay that does not harden, so I do that a million times for all of these. I don't even know how many layers they're coated in. So that's this, guys. This is Sally Mae. This is from Morgana. It has little like screw caps on the feet. It's a stop motion armature because she used to work on stuff like Robot Chicken and Moral Orals. She's done puppeteer work too. I kind of use the tail as leverage to hold it up. It's not perfect. It's the first thing I've ever made. All of these projects are things that I'm not a crafty person. I don't do crafts. So all these things were things I wanted to do. Anyway, keep going. So for Vivian Medrano, she has like 3 cats, and I know she loves them. So what I did is I bought a sweater that gave me her vibes, and I just cut little legs in it so it could be a little cat sweater. And then I used this, I put some like catnip stuck in there just from like random pieces. I have more catnip, and then I also made like a legit cat toy using Nightmare Before Christmas, which I'm pretty sure she likes. And there's like a little Velcro thing. I hand stitched. I like sewed this together, but I hand stitched the inside. Then you can, there's a little pocket there that you can put in more catnip and Velcro it shut. And it kind of extends, not very far, but it kind of goes through it. The Level Up poster had a Family Guy pose Vivsy, so I cross-stitched it. I've also cross-stitched, this isn't Helluverse related, but this is for Michael Kovac. I did an abysmal looking Jax. This is the first thing I ever embroidered, can you believe it? But N looks good. I'm happy with N. Jax is cursed. I still need to finish this. I need to cut off I got a backing fabric so you can't see, like, you can see the Mod Podge. So just so you can't see, I did the same thing with the Vivsy one, just so you can't see the stitching. I did do the corners, though, so that the backing wouldn't fall off. I also got, this is just something I bought. Sam have mentioned on Tumblr that they could always use more markers, and apparently these are good ones, so whatever. These are for Vivian Nixon. She used to be a dancer. I actually knew her from Glee before this show. But she has $3, which I just found on Instagram. And so I was like, you know what? I'll make them tutus, whatever. And I don't know. Sometimes I just don't know what to get for people's, and if kids are easier. So that's also what I did with Bryce. I think I don't remember how many kids he has. I think he has 2. I don't know if that information is like available. He has at least 1. And I made 2, and they're the Stoleless, like, Ozzy's cloak. Unfortunately, I had to do it all by hand because I could not figure out sewing machines. So, like, I had to do, like, sew on a little clip, and then sew this, like, this on. This was an old scarf, and then sew like, all this other fabric just together. My one friend did this. She sewed this together for me because I couldn't get these fabrics to mesh, but, so she used her sewing machine, and I just did the rest. But yeah, so there's that, and then this is for, I found out James Iglehart is going to be there, and he's Osmodeus, but he's also been the genie, so I did that, and also apparently he wrote a comic, so I just kind of like wrote it out and used it, because I needed a background, because I had the shadow box, and I was like, well, I'm just going to make it fit, so painted that, and then last one, this is for Brandon Rogers, and this is the sweater I used for Vivian, and I just use scraps. I use, like, scrap sleeves to make that a hood. It gives me Blame vibes if you watch Brandon Rogers', like, YouTube series. I'm also going to give him these. This gives me Bobby Worst vibes, and this I just think would look nice on him. So, because I saw him wear out, and nail polish a different kind. It looks good on him, so why not give him ones that I do not use? Those are all of my things. I just wanted a video of them all before I put them away, because once I give them away, I'm never going to see them again, and that's kind of wild to me, because I worked so hard on these for so long. And like I said, all this stuff, like, I've never made these things before. Like, working with clay is so weird. Sewing, like, a zipper on. This I actually got my sewing machine to work. I've been having so much trouble with my sewing machine. And then, like, yeah, the tie tutu, cross stitch. I really love cross stitch. I might keep up that habit. That's been really fun. Clay, I don't think I'm going to do very much. The armature is neat, but I made the bones of it too big, so, like, it's a little harder to move than I want it to be. So if I do that again, I know what to do. But I am currently, oh my gosh, I love how the top looks. The book folding was really fun too, but oh my gosh, I hate to, like, waste a book. But I already had, like, I had 2 of this book too. It's another reason I used it. So the gang's all here for one of the last times ever, and so they're going to be all here in my suitcase. And then it'll be all split up. So, the end. Actual final update. This sweetie was hiding in with my cosplay that I ended up not bringing. So, I found a P.O. box, and I'm gonna send him to Georgie. And that will be the last piece of the puzzle. I'm going to miss this, like, perfectly embroidered little eye that I did. I love that. You're a sweet little snaky. I love you.